What's it like being a plastic surgeon? Do they spend all day, every day operating? Who runs their office? What kind of car do they drive? And how does a plastic surgeon unwind after a long day of work? I'm Dr. Paul Pearce, and welcome to a day in my life as a plastic surgeon here in Austin, Texas.
It's about 6 o'clock, 6:15 in the morning here, and we're all done with editing. So now I've got to go get my kids up and get them ready for school. And then we got to move on with the rest of the day by getting off to the office and getting the day started. So here we go.
All right, kids are off to school, so it's about 7:45 in the morning. My first patient shows up at 8:30 today for our chin liposuction case, so we've got about 45 minutes to get to the office on time. So we got to battle Austin traffic, so we're going to load up here, but we got to grab a couple of things for the stuff we're going to do this afternoon. 2018, right after I got out of training, I went straight from training right into opening my own private practice, which was a huge challenge in itself because they don't teach you any of that going through residency. There's almost zero business training with that. Figuring out budgets, payroll, and taxes and things like that. Things that, like, I even had to learn that, you know, if you have deaf patients coming to your office, you have to pay for the interpreter, not them. So a challenge too, balancing that out with being a dad and being a husband and kind of working out your work-life balance and everything too, because it's very easy just to spend all day at the office, stay late into the night, and just forget about everything else and just focus on getting the practice going and better every day. Your staff is pretty much everything to your practice. My team that I work with, they're fantastic. I love all of them. They're great. Amy, who we just spoke with, is my practice manager. So she handles all the ins and outs of the business and everything like that. She basically is to the point now where she just tells me where to go and I just show up and take care of whatever needs to be done. We also have Reagan, who's our esthetician. She's fantastic. She has been with me the longest and she's a great esthetician. Our patients love her. And then we have Miranda, who is our medical assistant, but she also tends to help out with the surgical procedures that we do. And then she also runs some of our social media as well. So if you noticed an uptick in kind of how well those are put together, that is not me, that is Miranda, and she's been doing a fantastic job with that. The most important person that you always have is the first person that people meet in your practice, and that is Rhoda. So Rhoda runs our front desk. She answers the phones, she handles the insurance for us, and also helps me book cases at the hospital. So my whole team is great to work with. It's a challenge working with the team because, again, in residency, you get no training or anything like that on how to work with staff. So a lot of residents I saw while I was training struggled with that. A lot of surgical residents, we have a reputation of not being sometimes the nicest people in the hospital. But that's because the field of surgery, I think itself, sometimes attracts some very intense personalities probably from time to time. That's one way to put it. So I think that's one piece of advice that I could give to up and coming residents and med students, is that maintain those people skills that you have and develop them further, because you're going to deal with the difficult patients. You're going to have staff that are going to have difficulties in their life, and you're going to have to figure out how to work with that. And the medical and surgical stuff, that'll take care of itself on its own. All right, we are finally at the office. Our patient's already here, so now we just got to grab our stuff and head on upstairs and get started with our procedure. Welcome to the office. All right, so this is our procedure room here. We do pretty small procedures here. We'll do some liposuction, like chin liposuction, arm liposuction, just really small areas here in the office. We do let our patients breathe on some laughing gas here. This is Pronox, so combination of nitrous oxide and some oxygen. Everybody stays here on this table here. We'll get her numbed up, let it sit for about 15-20 minutes, and then we come back through and then we'll do the actual procedure. So in the meantime, we're gonna get everything set up here. We've got our sterilized equipment here that we gotta set up real quick. And then while we're doing that, she's gonna take her urine pregnancy test, make sure that's negative because we gotta make sure everything stays safe. And then we'll get started. So here we go. So I'm very hands-on here. So this is what allows us to feed our tumescent fluid into the patient. This is the suction tubing here. So that is what draws everything off of the patient. And then we have our blue towels, which are back in the other place. So we should be good there. Let's see, that's all good, that's all good. So we always keep track of how much goes in and how much comes out. So that's why we keep track of it here. We'll also keep track of the times we give antibiotics and our medications and things like that, her allergies. That way that all becomes part of our record. So this is the local anesthetic that we use. It's got a little bit of adrenaline in it, and that adrenaline helps kind of constrict the blood vessels down. And by constricting the blood vessels, we don't bleed as much during this procedure. So we're not putting too much here. We're not going to be using all that much fluid. Pop open for me. Blue towels first. That one. So I like to organize everything as we set it up in the way that we're going to be using it. These are the little metal rods that we'll use. We'll use this one. This is our infiltration cannula right here. So we'll use this. We'll hook up the fluid to this little area here, and this was what will go underneath the skin and deposit some of that numbing fluid there. This is the little hand piece that everything hooks onto. And eventually what we do is we will have all this screwed in together. There'll be some tubing coming off of this. And this is what we pass back and forth underneath the neck and the chin region to empty out all those fat deposits in there. So in the end, we'll wind up with a nice contoured jawline with the use of this thing here. So.
Yo, get the speaker box loud, hitting that stuff till you hearing that sound.
So we are all done here. We're just breaking up all the pockets that we already liposuctioned just to make sure that everything equals out and stays as nice and smooth as possible here. We're gonna close up these incisions. We'll put her in her compression garment. She's gonna swell for the next couple days. But in 6 months, we will have our final results. So another part of my day is making educational content on YouTube. And for that, we have this space here. So I have all the camera equipment and everything. If you've seen from this direction with the camera, maybe you've seen one of our videos before, but this is where I sit, this is where I'll make it. The way that I've done this is I've tried to make it as simple as possible because I don't have a lot of time. So usually I just come down here, flip a switch on, and everything typically comes right on. And then we just have to get rid of some lights here. And then after that, we are pretty good to go. So from here, I can sit down. We've got a nice teleprompter here. And then we got a nice little monitor that I can see myself with. The nice thing with the teleprompter is that I can write out the scripts and keep everything nice and concise and keep the video flowing instead of rambling on and trying to find the point that I'm trying to talk about. So let me find something to read. All right, so here's our script. Toss it right up here, and I have a nice little app, so whenever I start reading the script, it'll start recording. Let's see, here we go. All right, guys, that is the end of the workday here in the office. So you've seen some chin liposuction here in the office. We did some YouTube content, and then in the afternoon we saw a lot of patients here. We went through some hair loss patients, reconstructive patients, and one of our cosmetic patients. So it's the end of the day. It's time to unwind, and I'm going to show you guys how I unwind. So follow me. Well, welcome to Lake Austin. We are out on the boat today. This is my brother, Steven, Dr. Steven Pearce. He's the second doctor in the family. I'm the third one, our dad being the first. Somehow we all managed to get through medical school, but this is how we unwind from a long day. This doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it is pure magic out here. So we are gonna go have some fun behind the boat, and then that'll be the end of the day. So
Here we go.
here we go.
Here we go.
All right, well, that was fun. Didn't quite work out the way I wanted. I wanted to get my back roll today, but not every day do you get those, and I'm just happy to be throwing those still at age 45. Happy to be out here. Thanks for driving, Steven. So that's the end of the day, a day in the life of a plastic surgeon. You saw quite a bit of what we do, and if you guys want to learn more about plastic surgery or just a life in general of a plastic surgeon, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.